Run like the dogs you are!
Yo, yo, it's Mini TV here, coming at you again with another video. Today I have another video for you, and it's going to be from my position 4. It's going to be this hero that's kind of been wrecking particularly high MMR pubs. I haven't seen it too much in pro games, although I did see one yesterday picked up by Alliance, and it is Bottom of the Moon herself, Mirana. The hero I think is really, really strong right now. Got a few buffs I think in 7.25 that really helped her laning stage and kind of her prowess in roaming as well. So without further ado, guys, let's get to it. So guys, this is the game. Ended up picking Mirana, I think like first or second. I think it's getting to the point now where in matchmaking, if you are like the position 4, position 5, you have to pick first. Normally it goes 5 picks, then 4 picks, and 3 picks, and then they pick the carry, and then normally mid gets the last pick. So I didn't really get to see too much, obviously, of what they showed. I think they showed Lich, and then I picked Mirana. But I think Mirana is one of those heroes. It's more important of who you're not laning with. Or I mean, it's a strong position 4 regardless. Really, can work with a lot of matchups. But in this match, it was quite easy because I was laning with a Beastmaster. And normally, if you're playing Mirana, it's always useful to either pair it up with a slow or another stun in the lane. So perhaps you could have. I mean, in this case, we have a slow from Boars, and it just makes really the arrow easier to hit if you have that extra slower stun from your lane, and it does make a difference. So try and look for that. But if not, I mean, the hero is still really good as long as you kind of play it correctly. So starting off, obviously, arrow is obviously going to be first to be picked up. And then as for the items, I've been watching a lot of kind of crit and no-tail playing like position 4 Mirana. And this is their kind of build. Blightstone, 2 tangos, and then 2 clarities. Mirana's attack animation is probably one of the best in the game, honestly. And so because of that, the Blightstone, you can take like kind of full effect of it. Just because you're able to kind of trade and get so many little attacks in that the Blightstone is really, really useful to have. So obviously for the starting off, really, you're always looking to kind of get the arrow onto the rune, as like you see here. If you can get like a long range arrow, a lot of people are going to dive for the bounty rune, so it's kind of exactly where they're going to be. So even though I was training with the Spectre there, always looking to get the arrow straight up onto the bounty rune, because either it's a win-win either way. Either my Beastmaster gets the rune, or Lich will get hit by the arrow. And in the case, I think we end up getting both. We end up getting both, so it's a win-win. So starting off into this lane, really, like my whole idea is obviously I'm not really going to be able to land like decent arrows straight away. So like normally a lot of people kind of have the idea of Mirana of 2 things. So firstly, they maybe look to like set up arrows mid from the get-go, but it's really important now when you play any position 4, any kind of support release, that lanings are so important. So I can't just leave this Beastmaster on an island to go and try and set up perhaps kills mid. Even if I land like a decent arrow onto this Quapami killer, it's not worth to the kind of the detriment of what Beastmaster is. So you're kind of forced to stay in the lane because lanes are so important now in this patch. So just trying to secure your offlaner's farm is really important. So now I know I'm going to be in this lane. I can't just sort of sit in the trees and again try and find these arrows, because I mean, first of all, they obviously nerfed the stun ages ago, where you can't land 5-second arrows. So it's going to be struggling to sort of kill them. And because I've got Blightstone, it's more important that I kind of just try and trade and harass the enemy as much as possible. So looking to try and just kind of sort of secure some CS where I can, try to get a deny there. Obviously, when I do see an opportunity for an arrow, I go for it, and that's because obviously Beastmaster was already hitting him. There was no creeps to deny or got a last hit, and kind of using it just for harass. But I'm not really looking to almost get kills at the moment. I'm looking to try and harass them and get them low. Because obviously, unlike the first kill where I got the kill on the Lich, it's obvious that I can land the long stage arrow and he's out of position, whereas here, the lane's right next to the tower. It's difficult to get. So important to do, obviously, I'm looking to kind of secure ranged last hits, because my hero can one-shot creeps. Really important that you're helping secure the range creep. It's still really important, even though the experience bounty got increased slightly. Range creeps are still really, really important. And obviously, with the range creep killed, the lane's eventually going to push. So what do? I go and pull the hard camp. And so if there's an opportunity for me to get a kill on the enemy laners, it's when they're out of position. Now, the best way to get kills like that is to force them out of position, and by pulling is one of the best ways to do it. This way also, my Beastmaster can get a free lane of experience, but he's getting harassed lots by the Lich, so I come over instead of trying to mess with the pull camp instead. Beastmaster's salved up, and now Lich is obviously really out of position. We know where she is, and she ends up taking my courier, and I miss my arrow as well, but she's going to die nonetheless. And that kind of goes back to just the pull camp as well. I mean, obviously, Lich perhaps shouldn't have dived there, but got Beastmaster low, and obviously Spectre wasn't with the Lich because he's over here looking to get the creeps as well. So it's just kind of splitting the lane up, and it's really important you do that as position 4, because a kill like that wouldn't have happened if I didn't pull. Perhaps Lich wouldn't have dived if the lane was just here static, and perhaps Beastmaster would have died if Spectre, was there to land a Spectral Dagger on him, but instead he was, laning over here. So it's all about kind of splitting up the forces and stuff, and that's what I ended up doing here. So obviously got boots now, pretty standard really. I'm going to be picking up a magic stick and energy booster after. When you play position 4 Mirana, you're not really looking to kind of carry per se. You just kind of want to build team items, and help out your team as much. Like, you don't really scale really into a right clicker, that particular. Again, just a small thing there. If I'm throwing out arrows, it's going to be behind vision, behind cover, so it's a lot harder to dodge. End up catching the Lich, catching the Spectre there, but obviously it's difficult to kind of go on the Spectre when he's got frost armor. So yeah, we're gonna just have to reset and go again. But my Beastmaster's not doing too great. I think when he got dived by the Lich, like, he missed out a lot of CS there. So technically he's kind of behind a little bit. But I get level 2, Lich out of position, no mana, and obviously with the Beastmaster slow as well, I have leaps and I can kind of just secure kills on the Lich, and that's just whenever he's out of position. So really important, level 3. Normally, like years ago, whenever you'd play position 4 Mirana, you'd kind of start maxing out Starstorm. But as I just missed an arrow there, if I hit that arrow, he probably dies. But he just runs back. So level 2 Sacred Arrow has insane value. If you look at it, the damage goes from 60 to 150, so it's more than double the damage. So insane. There I was obviously looking for him to sort of see if he's going to go for the range creep. Again, just kind of good harassment. Again, don't kill him, but yeah, so just going back to the arrow, like, it's such a big jump from level 1 to level 2 Sacred Arrow that you have to go arrow level 3. Now, in some games, I feel that perhaps maxing arrow is probably the best option. Obviously, you can only get the max stun of 5 seconds if you max up. Before, it was level 5 from level 1 regardless. But sometimes, and in this game I actually left Sacred Arrow level 2, and it's kind of a really strong second point value because of the jump from damage, and then I start maxing out Starstorm. But I have seen games where crit maxes out the Sacred Arrow, but in this game I kind of felt that it was better if I max out the Starstorm. Gives us more wave push. We have a mid ogre, so he's not really going to be able to push out waves too effectively. So if I max Sacred Arrow, I have less points in Starstorm, which is slower to push out lanes. But sometimes some games maxing out Sacred Arrow is still really good because of the max stun and also the damage as well. And if you find it easy to set up kills with the arrow, maybe maxing it is good. Obviously, good use of leaps. I mean, your hero is one of the best courier killers because of the attack speed bonus you get, as well as the movement speed and kind of the jump as well. Killing couriers, always keep an eye out for that. And again, obviously, like in a position like this, if the support ever walks up to the creep wave, if I land an arrow with Beastmaster's Boars, he's just going to die. And I'm just looking to land that arrow really, because if I miss it, we miss the kill, but if not, we get it. Again, the lane's pushed out. And again, doing what I was doing before, was trying to like pull the lane. Obviously, it's near bounty rune time as well, but I know Lich had already TP'd to the lane and then died again, so he's nowhere near to get this bounty rune. So I can set up here on this. And now with Spectre without a support, he kind of feels threatened as well. So this is kind of a double whammy where I'm able to kind of force the Spectre back as well as kind of secure the bounty runes for myself as well. So now the lane's back. Now's my first time I'm going to rotate as well. So if you remember, I talked about at the start how it's really, really important that you keep in your lane and kind of secure the lane for your offlaner. But in this scenario, Beastmaster level 4 is doing okay. And before I've roamed as well, I've pulled the lane, so the lane is in a good position, so I don't need to be here. One of the worst mistakes of position 4 is kind of just soaking experience for no reason. So so now I have given my lane partner about 20 seconds before I need to get back to him to kind of help him, and in that 20 seconds I can rotate mid, sort of see if I can set up a kill on the Quap. I noticed that he's kind of low as well, but Ogre ended up dying, so I'm just going to take the mid lane for myself. It's really important that someone takes the lane, and obviously Beastmaster's still okay. He's still got a lane there and isn't too threatened. Obviously, now the lane's going to be pushing out a little bit, so I need to be wary. But also at the same time, Ogre's going to come back mid, so I can rotate back to the Beastmaster. Obviously, if Quap's out of position, can maybe set up a stun kill as well. The runes are coming up in 5 seconds. I don't want to give Quap any kind of rune or bottle charges, so I'm going to secure the rune here as well. There's no rune, can't really stack the stun as well. I throw out an arrow, ends up hitting as well, and as a result use triple leap and just try and set up any kind of kill as well. And with the ignite he ends up dying as well, so don't be afraid to kind of chuck out arrows randomly. I mean, he had no vision, it's night time as well, so it's difficult to kind of predict those arrows are going to be there. And now obviously I can come up and sort of help my Beastmaster as well. He ends up kind of getting quite low. I know where the Spectre's going to be running. I can just put an arrow straight in that path as well. And Lich getting out of position, and we can kind of just run down the Spectre. And so that's just kind of having, and as we end up kind of catching out the Spectre eventually, he tries to juke us, but isn't going to make it. Quap ends up kind of TPing, and obviously I'm just going to TP straight out because Quap's just died, TP top, and now her lane or her kind of game is kind of ruined. She TP top to kind of get a kill, and now this gives even more time for Ogre to set up mid. And don't ask why we have an Ogre mid, I have no idea. YOLO, I guess. So I'm going to run back top. Beastmaster is still kind of in need of my help, and obviously this is kind of the lane where I can get kills really. Bot lane is a little bit more difficult. I mean, Oracle was top at the moment, and now he's back to base. There's no point me rotating bot because we can't set up kills. I might be able to kind of maybe help the lifesteal a little bit. As you can see, he's kind of getting dived a little bit, but I have no way of securing kills. And it's really important when you kind of play position 4 is that you're focusing more on kills than on anything else really. I'm just arrowing the catapult there. Just easy to kind of clear the way. Catapults take ages to kill, and they do threaten your tower as well. So obviously got 2 points in Starstorm. I ended up not maxing the Sacred Arrow, as I mentioned before. And again, 2 points in Starstorm is a really nice value as well, because it doubles up in value as well. Lich walks into us, which is quite nice. And so I don't really need to do anything too crazy. Wait for the Oracle to Q, and he ends up dying as well. So now there's 3 of us up here, and Beastmaster's closing on level 6. We kind of want to pressure the tower, but at the same time, Ogre's dead again mid, so I kind of want to soak as much experience up as I can. So I buy my Arcane Boots and then TP mid. It's just important to keep this lane pushed out. You don't want to lose your tier 1 tower mid. It's really, really important. Probably the most important tower in the game, because it kind of opens up the map from both sides, obviously. And also it's a free lane of experience as well. I mean, like right now I'm like the same level as my offlaner, and that's kind of a combination of me not soaking too much experience from the offlaner, but also utilizing and taking lanes where I can. I pick up a DD, Ogre's going to be starting to rotate back mid, and now I'm able to kind of set up kind of kills elsewhere. So hit level 6, and I spec and go straight into Moonlight Shadow, and it's really important that you kind of use this as soon as possible, and also that you pick it up at level 6. It's kind of a surprise factor. Not a lot of Miranas go for Moonlight Shadow, but it's just so useful. I think it ended up setting up a kill on mid as well, and that's just because of the kind of the surprise factor, and you're able to kind of close the gap without being seen completely. So quite a nice setup here. So I just go up and kind of annoy the Spectre. I know where he's farming, I know where he's jungling, and I'm able to kind of set up on him. And I know he's still back there, so I throw out an arrow, and we end up kind of setting up another kill on the Spectre as well. Beastmaster comes in, uses Raw, I use Leap, and a couple of right clicks, and it's able to secure the kill on the Spectre as well. So right now, I'm kind of owning, to be honest. Like, I'm 5-0 and 4. We've kind of done a lot top. We've kind of set up kills mid as well. And we're 2k ahead. And I mean, when you play a hero like Mirana, these kind of roaming kind of heroes, your biggest asset really is just your ability to set up kills across the map. I mean, if you look at the Spectre is really, like, I'm higher net worth than the Spectre, and that's because I've just made his game a living hell kind of thing. And that's kind of what I'm looking to do. Obviously, I haven't rotated bot too much, but that's just because I feel like it's more important to kill the Spectre and threaten the Spectre. I mentioned on my last position 4 video when I was playing Tusk, I was getting a lot of kills, but I wasn't really setting up on or killing or destroying the win condition heroes. And in this game, it's the Spectre really. So if I can shut down the Spectre, we can win the game because he's really their win condition. So killing the Pugna, killing the Tiny isn't really the biggest of deals, to be honest, because they are not the ones that are going to set up kills. We again, Quap's pushed up top, and I'm just looking to kind of reset whenever we see like ourselves at a numbers disadvantage. Always looking to kind of reset. But Beastmaster has Helm of Dom, Ogre TP's top as well, and I still stay in the area to set up the third and final kill as well. And this is kind of an important thing as well. So, if I start TPing bottom, then I'm not playing around my kind of strongest hero. My strongest hero right now is probably the Beastmaster or the Ogre. I mean, Beastmaster level 8, he's like maxed out Boars, has Helm of Dominator. I want to be kind of enabling my strongest cores. Whereas Lifestealer, he just wants to hit creeps really. So I can't really sort of work with him to sort of set up kills. We're trying to draw attention away from the Lifestealer. I want to stay away from, because if I start TPing bottom, then enemy heroes start rotating down there as well, and he doesn't want that really. So I'm going to be playing with my strongest heroes, setting up kills, making action happen around heroes that can do things, and that's my offlane and that's my mid lane. And it's really important that you kind of realize who you need to be playing around with as a support, because you are an enabler at the end of the day. So you need to enable your heroes. So again, there was 3 or 4 people at the top. We're going to secure the tower. I can then rotate mid, get some experience for myself. My mid doesn't have a bottle, so I'm going to take the DD again. The one problem, obviously, with not kind of dealing or handling the bottom lane, which was the Tiny in this case, is that he ends up having a 12-minute blink. So that was kind of unsuspected. Wasn't really ready for that. Didn't obviously have vision on mid. I didn't even check Tiny Dimes either really as well. So it's kind of a misplay from myself there, and we end up getting kind of surprised by the blink dagger. But at the same time, Spectre's really low down. Yes, Tiny has a blink dagger, but how much can he really do with that? He gets a kill. He killed me, which obviously like kind of slows my game down a little bit. But for the most part, it was almost a non-essential kill, not that really important. The game kind of still goes on. So as for my item build here, I'm end up going Rod of Atos. Sometimes, in this game, it's kind of has a lot more value, particularly against the Quap, because he can't obviously blink out of it. But it's quite nice to have in general because it just kind of secures arrows very easily. You can kind of set up arrows by yourself. You don't really need I mean, in this game, I have actually quite a good setup. I have Beastmaster Raw, I have Ogre, I have the Oracle as well. Just for the fact that I wanted to make sure that we can catch the Quap, I end up building towards an Atos, and you'll see in this game that it actually is quite value, able to sort of set up a lot of kills elsewhere. But in general, just going kind of team firearms like mech. I end up building mech and God in Greaves this game as well, and also Solar Crest is really useful as well, particularly with heroes like Beastmaster and Lifestealer that are all very single target based. End up chucking up an arrow, ends up seeing the tiny, and you see how I'm kind of playing scared really. I don't want to get comboed again by the tiny. I have very low HP pool. I still only level 7, so kind of trying to play the outskirts of the team fights really. Obviously, just trying to secure my arrow where possible. Luckily, there was a regen rune there as well. I can end up going back in, and Ogre is starting to kind of just dominate. really showing value in the pick. And we end up kind of team wiping him mid, which is good. So got level 10 now, and in terms of like talents, I mean the talents actually from Mirana are particularly level 10 are actually quite weak. One thing I saw Crit do a lot was just kind of completely negate and just kind of ignore the talents until he's maxed out all his skills, and I could definitely see the value in that because level 10 talents aren't really that strong. 12 damage isn't that much, but just considering that blink on tiny, and I don't really have any stats, although that's another reason why I built into Rod as well, just give it a bit more tankability, is I don't want to get kind of bursted completely from the tiny, so I end up going 150 HP. Obviously, I'm not a right-click Mirana, so I don't need the 12 damage, and 12 damage is very mediocre, really, very measly. So again, kind of trying to play around my cores. Got my Beastmaster obviously to the south of me, and Ogre to the west as well. And I have a smoke, and I just kind of want to make use of that if possible. But Ogre, I think, wanted to like finish his Midas or use his Midas or something. End up trying to arrow the catapult, obviously, but there was a pesky range creep in the way. So right now, obviously, we're 7k ahead, and my mentality is that I kind of want to keep pushing and forcing our advantage. I don't want Spectre to kind of slowly get back into this game. Want to be rotating mid, setting up kills on the mid lane. End up getting a 5-second arrow on the Pugna, which is nice. And again, just kind of looking for ways to push our advantage. We know we're ahead, and immediately, obviously, I end up ulti in. It doesn't lead to too much, although we do see the quap there. If I had Rod, it would have been nice. But like the worst thing you can do is when you're like this far ahead is just kind of let your foot off the gas. Really, you just want to keep going, keep pushing. Spectre isn't going to be joining these fights because obviously he's most likely building Radiance. So we are incredibly strong, and obviously we don't have really the late game either. We have like Armlet, SNY built onto the Lifestealer, and we have like an Ogre as well that's going to be peaking in the mid game. So just kind of keeping the pressure up, and a lot of that comes through your positioning, but also through where you're looking up. I end up to being bot. Try and secure a kill on the Lich. I end up arrowing a range creep there, which is a shame, and because of that, our tame mid gets kind of gone upon. I mean, it's slightly maybe poor positioning from them, because obviously if I to be bot and Ogre to be top as well, they shouldn't be staying mid. But at the same time, I could have told them I was going bottom, yada yada. There's, and I end up muting my team because they're annoying me. So, you gotta do what you gotta do, I mean, it's a small thing as well, and I probably should mention it because I think it does help a lot with mentality and kind of actually winning games. But if you want to improve and you want to get better at Dota, it is so much more impactful to just mute your teammates and focus on your own game than it is to blame them, rage at them. You have to have a sense of self-control and a sense of self-discipline. But in the long run, it's so much better if you do that. And because at the end of the day, the moment you start putting the responsibility and the onus on someone else is the moment you stop improving, because your improvement and your development as a Dota player is starting to actually be dictated by someone you've never met, you never know, and you probably never will meet again in matchmaking. So, and it's detrimental to your growth as a Dota player. And in this moment, you saw me mute my team. just mute them, but continue to communicate with them and continue to play with them. And people who say, "Oh, I can get over it," it doesn't affect me. They're probably just lying, to be honest, because like after a while, like it does get to you. And even if you're thinking for a couple of seconds about something other than the game, then you're not doing what you should. So we end up getting like a nice catch onto the Mirana, and obviously straight into Roche with a Beastmaster as well. And obviously Rod to get rid of the Lincolns from Roche, and then Lifestealer can open wounds. So I'm building into a mech here as well. I mean, your kind of job, particularly as a 4 Mirana, is kind of to build the team items that your team can't really build. Obviously, we have a Beastmaster, so Vlad's is going to be built by him, but mech isn't really anyone for it. And this is again a good use of Moonlight Shadow, just kind of setting up kills and setting up things from elsewhere. I knew the Oracle, the route was coming out, so I didn't have to use my Rod. I end up rodding the Pugner here, which is a real big mistake because then Spectre can get away empty-handed. So really, actually, poor usage of that from myself there. And Spectre ends up TPing out. So yes, we do end up kind of killing both the supports, and we get the tower as well, but we end up letting Spectre away, which was just poor. And I rodded a hero that was literally standing still ulti in, so just a small thing for that. ITP bot again, which was again actually a really poor TP. I mean, we was going to be looking to go straight into high ground, and ITP to bot to push out a wave that was already getting killed. Instead, obviously, this time my team does the right thing as well, and they end up not going high ground and kind of following me mid, and we end up kind of setting up the kill and kind of backstabbing the Tiny there. But I probably could have carried on and stayed top, but at least we get another core kill out of this. And I found in this patch as well, pushing high ground is actually really difficult with the increase of health and armor and damage from the tier 3s. It's actually very difficult to push high ground. It's only 20 minutes in, obviously, and although yes, we do have a big advantage, unless there's a significant advantage through numbers, it's very difficult to actually kind of secure kills really. So there, all I'm looking for really is just kind of another pick, and obviously it's just really key to kind of keep an eye out of like where all the creep camps are, just simply because of the fact that if people aren't showing on lanes, they're most likely hitting creeps. And with the Rod and my arrow combo, like I have so much kind of delay and catch that there's no way they get out. Obviously now there's like 2 or 3 heroes dead, now we can push high ground kind of very simply. But I could tell you so many times where I've been 8-9k up and I push high ground and we end up throwing it because it's just so difficult and we kind of overextend and yada yada yada. Again, kind of rod into stun combo, don't want to commit too much, use my Star Storm and then kind of just reset because we don't want to go under the tier 4 towers, and obviously quad pull back as well. Although Aegis, we have a Lifestealer, like just a buyback from a hero like their mid player is just something we need to kind of reset and get away from really. So we lost, we lose everyone but like a Beastmaster and myself, but we ended up forcing a buyback and we got mid as well, so it's not too bad, but again probably not ideal. So obviously got my mech now, building towards Guardian Greaves, and again just kind of helping out with anything to do with kind of the team fight. Useful this game as well, can get rid of Quap Dagger, and just the health burst is really nice against playing into Tiny as well. Another thing as well, like, so when there is periods of kind of downtime like this as Mirana, it's good to kind of just hit jungle creeps. Like, you have decent mana regeneration from the Arcane Boots. I end up having a ring as well this game, so I have decent mana regen, so I can hit creeps, and then obviously arrowing the neutral is something that's really important to do. Again, use of Moonlight Shadow just to kind of almost like a pseudo initiation, able to kind of set up kind of kills close up is so much easier than afar. So just make sure, be very liberal with your use of ultimate. As you can see here, I've only put 1 point in it, and I think it's kind of a 1 point wonder really. An extra point in leap or talent is better, because it only reduces it by 20 seconds on the cooldown and 0.5 seconds fade time. And the fade delay really is only effective if you're kind of using it as like a defensive tool, and you're using it to kind of run away, which is normally not really the way you want to use it. You want it more as an aggressive tool, kind of like a pseudo smoke, able to get into the enemy positioning without being noticed. So because of that, just maxing out your other skills and leaving that level 1 is my preferred choice. As for level 15, obviously the choice is quite obvious, picking up the Sacred Arrow cooldown. Again, I'm not playing a right-click kind of build on Mirana, so anything that gives me more utility, which now obviously means my arrow is like a level 11 seconds, which is nice. Just a lot able to use 2 or 3 in a team fight. And again, right now we're just looking for a pick really. Again, we don't have Aegis this time. We see kind of the Pugna, end up again missing my arrow to those neutral creeps. Something to kind of think about, obviously, because obviously he was jungling onto the neutrals. Like, it's obvious they're going to walk out, so I need to kind of position it to the right instead of to the left of him. And we miss a kill really. So it's a small thing, but right now it's kind of even though we're really far ahead, just kind of pushing up high ground is scary because they have everything available, and honestly the protection that the tier 3 towers give is not particularly fun. So ideally we're looking for like a pick or waiting for them to kind of walk out before we do anything kind of too aggressive. But we start hitting it, but you start to sort of see how like difficult it can be to really reset. And this time, obviously, again, kind of using ultimate just to kind of look for a pick. And just using it liberally, using it whenever. In this case, we see the sort of Spectre down bot, but we end up kind of getting duped. He ends up scanning us, and he ends up getting away, and he's already 2B'd out. But this is kind of what we really need to do, really, before we can kind of reset. I think Roche is still dead, so just kind of controlling the map, making sure they're not able to kind of push out lanes, in this case like the Spectre, because if they push out this wave, get past the river, then they can rotate into our jungle, and they can farm the jungle without us really kind of threatening them, so it's really important that you keep that out. Obviously, I end up getting done by the Tiny, try to get my spell off before I get done, and ends up securing the kill on the quad, which is good. I was thinking about buying back here, because obviously, like particularly when you play a support, if you end up getting bursted without really kind of getting a lot of your toolkit out, it's really important that you look to buy back. But because most were already dead, I didn't really feel the need to buy back. And as a result, they end up killing and wiping them anyway. And that's just kind of being in like a decent position. Like even though they went on me and they killed me instantly, they're gonna get punished for it. And it's almost better that I end up dying there than perhaps even the Oracle. Because my skill set isn't particularly great in a team fight. I ended up getting Rod off, and I think I ended up getting Guardian Greaves off as well in the team fight. And that's kind of a lot of my presence in the team fight. If you think about Mirana, like she has very low cooldown spells. She doesn't have this big ultimate. So if she's the first one dying, she isn't really the biggest threat. Whereas an Oracle ulti, for example, is a lot more useful than me in a team fight. So it works out a lot better, and that's kind of the strength of Mirana. You saw this whole game where I'm just kind of always looking for kills, always looking to set up any kind of advantage, looking for any kind of pick. It's because I don't have to wait for anything. I'm not like a warlock or an earth spirit who has to wait for ultimate or whoever, or an earth shaker, for example. I'm always looking for kills throughout. Again, kind of rod into arrow combo, and so many kills I've made from this combo, and I really do like that the rod it has extra value here because of the mobility from quad, but even sometimes it's very useful even without it. Good stats, and it just sets up a very easy way to land arrows. And for a hero that is majority about arrows, having anything to improve that and help that is obviously very, very good. So that's kind of the majority of the game. Obviously, we've kind of wiped them over and over again now. We've got like all the wrecks, and the kind of game's ended up from there. So that's going to be it, guys. I hope you did enjoy. Just a few things I want to just kind of mention as well. I mean, we didn't get there, but level 20, I think the spell amp is just slightly better than the mana break, unless there's a hero that really struggles against mana. Perhaps maybe like if you're playing against a Medusa or like an anti-mage that relies so much on mana for their mobility. But overall, the spell amp is normally like slightly better, particularly because there's items if you go into the later game where you can end up picking up things like Dagons and stuff. I saw a game where Notel got like quite a farm that was like a later game and he's building like Dagons, and it does so much work, and obviously the spell amp is going to be useful and vital for that as well. They end up wiping the life stealer here, but he ends up kind of just resetting, and then we ended up kind of just going straight off after that. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed the replay. I know I haven't made too many videos recently. One thing I was going to mention, I was thinking actually getting into casting. Maybe like, I don't know if I was going to be doing it on Twitch, streaming it, or I was just going to put them straight on my YouTube channel. Because I watch a lot of Dota, and I thought maybe it'd be quite good for me to maybe like analyze a few pro games or cast a few games. I'm not 100% sure, but guys, if you'd be interested in seeing that, leave me a comment down below, and see what happens when it comes to me casting. Because I used to cast back in Heroes of New Earth with Breaky CBK, but obviously he's gone now, and I was thinking about getting into it because I do love casting, and I'm looking a way to get back into it. So if you want to see that, guys, leave me a comment down below. Other than that, hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep budding and grinding. Peace.
It was not luck, but skill.